What's up, hustlers? Happy Bulletproof Monday. I hope you are doing well and I hope your families are all doing well. I want to acknowledge you for watching either live or maybe someone shared this video with you. My name is Susan Sly. I am a best-selling author, I'm a speaker, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a mom, and like many of you, navigating all of the things that are going on in our lives right now. My question for you today is, are you feeling a bit stuck? Maybe you're feeling stuck emotionally, maybe it's physically, maybe there's just a heaviness to you, or maybe you're in a place where you're not feeling stuck, but you have been in the past. Or lastly, maybe you're in a place that things are really in flow and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, things are finally happening for me, in which case sometimes that bit of doubt and fear can creep in and make you ask yourself, like, can this really last? So today's show is all about the total life detox. Detoxing your physical body, detoxing your mind, detoxing your emotions, even your relationships. And never has there ever been a time like this in history when you think about it. We are, basically all of the world is staying home. We have in the United States, as of this morning, I think there were over 24 million people who'd filed for unemployment. We have people who are losing businesses. We have the things like sexual abuse and physical abuse are on the rise. Child abuse is on the rise. People are drinking more. They're doing drugs. They're not handling the situation well. And if you're one of those people, my heart goes out to you because I'm so happy you're here. And if you're a person who knows someone like that, I'm also happy you're here. With today's show, our focus is, how do we do a whole life detox? How do we get rid of all of the baggage and the nonsense and the drama and that weight of heaviness that is holding us back? See, some people are saying, you know what, after everything opens up again, that's when I'm going to get healthy again. That's when I'm going to work on my career, my relationships. That's when I'm going to go and I'm going to do those things that I wanted to do. And I would say that's great. If you're telling yourself you're going to do it then, you're probably not. So my question for you is, why would you wait? If you know you can experience goodness, if you know that you can feel better, if you know that you can live a more abundant life, why would you wait one more day to feel good? The answer is you shouldn't. And so I know that, sometimes when we're thinking about doing a detox, we have in our minds that it has to be a certain way. And what I'm going to share with you today is not about any specific kind of a product. It's not about a certain ideology or methodology. I'm going to refer you to some of my favorite books on detoxing, life detoxing, and just share with you some stories about creating that clearing. And my goal is that you're going to leave here inspired and empowered, and you're going to make some decisions. And I want to read your decisions in the comments below this. So one quick announcement, I'm doing free side hustle coaching on Friday, May 1st. So that is absolutely free and I love to do it. So I am a certified coach. I do not coach one-on-one. For those of you who don't know me, I am an entrepreneur. I'm co-CEO of a tech startup. You're about to see us in the news like crazy coming up for something we've created that's really going to help people get back to work fast. I have a very large direct sales business, over 300,000 team members. I love it. And I also have a digital marketing agency called Agency Aid. So I don't coach one-on-one, but I love to do group coaching. So all you need to do, it's one thing and it's free and it takes like 2 seconds. Go to susansly.com, get on the list, and you will get the invitation to live coaching because it only goes out to my list. I consider my list like my family. All right, with that, let's get into it. I want to begin with a story. When I wrote this down, I just want to share with you, whatever is suppressed is eventually going to be expressed, and often in a very toxic way. I'm going to say that again. Whatever is suppressed will often be expressed in a very toxic way. So if we've had abuse, if we've had hurt and frustrations and pain, shoving the emotions down, shoving them down with food or alcohol or drugs or whatever we do that's toxic, eventually that's going to push those things out in a way that is incredibly unhealthy for the people around us. And it might be that we gossip. It might be that we have to try to make ourselves look good by tearing other people down. It might be that we say things to people that we regret at some point. It might be that we go into other forms of self-sabotage. Many years ago, I worked as a parole officer, and I also worked in the federal prison system in Canada. And oftentimes, as I'd be interviewing inmates, one of my jobs actually was very, very cool. I worked in the psych testing department of the intake for the federal the correction facilities that were in my home province. And so inmates would come in and I would administer Rorschach tests on them. Those are the inkblot tests. I'd administer the DSM-3R. We were on the 3 back then, which is the diagnostic test. And I'd sit in these rooms with inmates and I'd interview them. And you know that most inmates came in, they had some form of addiction, and almost 100% of the time, the addiction that they had when they got arrested was much bigger than the addiction they had when they started on that path of drugs and alcohol. So I had one particular case, and the individual started just smoking pot, and then it was hash, and then his friends went to cocaine, and when they ran out of money to get cocaine, they started breaking into people's houses, and one night they broke into someone's house who was a judge, and this guy, he was a minor at the time, as soon as he turned 18, he went straight to the federal system. And that story, as awful as it is very, very common. All of our addictions, they start off so small, whether it's, I only drink wine on weekends, and then suddenly it's I have to drink wine on Monday, or I have to drink it now Monday and Tuesday, or Jessica Simpson's new book, I picked it up. I haven't started to read it yet. She talks about, and then as her career got going and everything, and it got to the point even with her kids that she couldn't even get them ready for school in the morning without drinking from what she called her glitter cup, which was a glittery cup full of alcohol. And I was, at first I saw the book and I was like, oh, another celebrity biography, and then I started to read her story and I went, wow, how many people out there, there's a proliferation of soccer moms who can't even function on the soccer field on a Saturday morning without putting some alcohol in their coffee cup. I mean, we're living in a time where we don't want to allow ourselves to feel. And as we suppress everything and we push our emotions down, eventually things will blow up. And you might say to me, well, Susan, how do you know about this? You appear to have your life all together. You've been on CNN and CNBC and Fox. I'm going to be the first person to tell you it's a load of nonsense. And in fact, the greatest emotional detox that I ever had in my life was forced upon me because I was suppressing everything. I was choosing to ignore so many things. So back in the late 90s, as I was on television, as I was one of the first life coach people on all of the internet in 1995, as I was on radio and training celebrity clients and owning my business, driving a Mercedes, had a great handbag. I was the person who went into restaurants and were like, oh, I saw you on TV, have a free meal, have a free bottle of wine. It was a very superficial life. And I thought I wasn't being superficial, and my drug of choice was work. I worked 16-hour days, 18-hour days. I was such a prover. I thought, I was an athlete too. As long as I'm on the podium, as long as I'm on television, as long as, whatever, there's meaning to my life. And what I was really suppressing was a deep amount of anger and a resentment for early abuse, and I know many of you have been abused as well. And I thought, as long as I keep proving myself, I'm not going to have to deal with the abuse. So of course I ended up in a marriage with someone who was also a prover and very, very competitive. So we didn't have a normal, healthy relationship. It was like, let's go for a run and see who's going to beat each other. Let's enter a triathlon and see who's going to be faster. I mean, it wasn't healthy for him and it wasn't healthy for me. And both of us wound up very emotionally bankrupt in that relationship. And of course, when you're emotionally bankrupt, what a lot of people do is they get a puppy. We didn't do that. We had a baby. And, and I'm so grateful that we did. But, unfortunately, as I was working more and proving more, I wasn't the best mom that I wanted to be. I put my daughter in daycare at an early age because I just thought I have to keep working. I have to keep working. I have to keep proving. And eventually, life has an interesting way of forcing you to detox. And if you're listening right now and your relationship's in trouble, or you have a negative health report, or you're financially not in a good place, those are symptoms of an underlying cause. And I say, God doesn't always tap you on the shoulder, He hits you over the head with a frying pan. And so, what happened to me in a 16-week period in the year 2000, I got diagnosed with progressive multiple sclerosis. I was told with a case as bad as the one I had, I would be in a hospital in 10 years and dead in 20. And that was the first thing that happened. Then my marriage fell apart. And then I ended up getting diagnosed with shingles. I was doing a race in Alabama and it was on ESPN. And I ended up blacking out on ESPN. I passed out. I ended up losing my business and going bankrupt. And finally, because I hadn't paid attention and I was making the wrong things important and I wasn't dealing with my life, I lost everything. And I had $300 to my name, a gold Toyota Camry that I leased, and fortunately I still have my beautiful daughter. And that was my wake-up call. And some of you are drinking your way through this. You're doing drugs through this. Maybe it's over-the-counter prescription drugs that, you tell yourself unless you get the bottle of cold medicine or whatever it is, you're not going to be able to sleep. It's time to wake up and detoxify your life and get rid of all the baggage and stop giving so much meaning to your pain and purpose to your pain and move forward. And so I got really humble. And the woman I am today is not the woman that I was. And if you knew me back then, if this video finds you and I, said something to you or I wasn't the best boss and you worked for me, I'm sorry. I'm a different person now and I had to get humble. And so two things happened. I got down on my knees and I said to God, if you will show me the way, I will do the work. I didn't ask for a handout. I said I will do the work. And so my life, all of my possessions were seized by the bank, except for the gold Camry. I lost everything. And talk about a detox. And I had to figure out who I was. And so I love the physical stuff. I wasn't scared anymore because I had already lost everything. And I knew I had to emotionally detox. I had to forgive my husband. I had to forgive my the person who abused me. I had to forgive a whole bunch of people, and I had to forgive myself. And so I would not be the woman I am today if it wasn't for that experience. And the second thing I said to God, the pact I made with God, was if you will show me the way, I will spend the rest of my life empowering people. And so I do these Bulletproof Mondays if one person shows up or if no people show up, because this was my agreement with God. And if this is helpful to you today, I just ask that you share it, that you comment on it, because there's no financial gain for me to do this. It's not because I want to be a celebrity influencer. I could really care less if you know me personally at all whatsoever. It's really just about, if you're struggling today, this is for you. And so I want to go through 5 areas very quickly that we must emotionally detox, okay? So the first one is a physical detox. When the body is toxic, the mind is toxic, our thoughts are toxic, and our actions are toxic. You can detox just by fasting. You could detox with water. You could detox, fasting and prayer. That is a great detox. Some of you might choose to use a cleanse system. I'm doing a detox today. I've got some cleansing stuff in a bottle right here because I'm just detoxing my body, and because I know that I need to be strong for people. I sat with it last week, and it was suddenly, there are thousands people that rely on me to be the light and to be the lighthouse for them. And how am I supposed to do that if I'm toxic? So you can detoxify your body. Maybe for you, it's giving up alcohol. Maybe it's giving up pot. Maybe it's, not doing hash. Whatever it is you do and you know you're not supposed to do it. Maybe it's processed foods, fast foods. Maybe that's your detox. But I want you to figure it out, okay? Figure it out how you're going to do it. The second area that we're going to detox is our technology. There's a lot of stuff, emails, texts, there's stuff in your social media. Could you this week go and maybe unfriend some people? Who are you trying to prove something to anyway? That person, when they post and you're like, you just want to vomit, or it gives you a headache right away, or unfriend them, block them. There's a friend who said, well, I've been posting stuff about different solutions for the current health crisis, and this one guy, he started to get really aggressive. I'm like, why are you in the ring with him? Friend him. Life's too short. There are 8 billion people on the planet. Not everyone's going to be your bestie, right? Emails. Do you have 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 emails? Really? Do you think those people are waiting to get back to you? Go back. Every email that is oversold, start deleting it. And just don't empty your inbox or your trash bin. If you feel like, oh my gosh, Susan, that's just too much for me, just delete them all and just don't empty your trash. But I can promise you, when you see 36,000 emails right there, you're getting anxiety. Go delete a bunch of text. I was teaching a class. I teach a organization class online for entrepreneurs, and I teach a version for people who aren't entrepreneurs as well. And for my best friend who passed, several years ago, I was still holding a voicemail from him for a long time. It was happy anniversary for Chris and I. And one day I was like, why? I see his name in the voicemail. I have to let him go. He always remembered all our birthdays, all of our, anniversary, everything. And I just said, I have to let him go. It's not healthy. And I swiped it and he was gone. But his memory lives on, right? Who do you need to let go of, either in love or just release? We'll get to relationships in a minute. What is in your technology? It doesn't matter. I was doing the live coaching on Friday for my list, and this one guy said, I went down to my Dream 100 on Instagram. I got rid of all of the people on there until I was down to 100. What do you think about that? And I said, well, everyone is different. But maybe for you, it's that. Maybe you get rid of, a whole bunch of people and you start fresh because you're a new person, right? The next thing is a clear detox. When you look around your space right now, what is it you see? When you get in your car, if you're in your car at all, what is it you see? Is it full of Starbucks cups? Is it full of tissues? Is it, what is it? Why are you hoarding? When this all started to happen and people are like, oh, I need to have 24 cases of paper towel. For what? So other people couldn't have it? I understand. A few weeks, I get it. I have kids, and the shelves are bare, and it's common sense. But some of you did it for wrong reasons. You're buying stuff that you don't need. You're surrounded by stuff and mess and clutter. As part of a total life detox, it's getting rid of your excess because that's someone else's blessing. I'm going to say it again. Your excess is someone else's blessing. If you're now a size 8 and you were a size 16, go donate those clothes. There are more people who are homeless right now than anything, because when people lose their jobs, they stop donating. Go put them in the bin. Donate. If you have a whole bunch of extra food in your house right now and the stores are getting, food in your area, could you donate those to the food bank? What can you do? What is your excess that could be someone else's blessing? I've been going through, it's constant at my house. We don't, hoard or anything. It's like constantly getting rid of clothes, getting rid of things that we don't need. so they can bless someone else. Right now, every time I go through my kids' clothes, and some of them are really nice, they go to an orphanage, a very specific orphanage. That's where those things go. This morning, I always want all of you to be fiscally responsible. You save money, you pay your bills, you do everything. After my budget this week, I had a bit of excess, so I donated to a charity that's helping people who've lost jobs because of this crisis, because I had some excess, after everything, right? So decluttering. Two more areas. The fourth one is relationship detox. There are some people in your life who are toxic, and it's hard for you. It's a hard relationship, and maybe the relationship was healthy at one point and then it became toxic. A friend of mine messaged me. She said, my engagement's off, I'm in therapy, he beat me. And a few months ago I was talking to her and she was on top of the world. She had just newly gotten engaged, and after the engagement it started to hit her. Sometimes the person we are when we enter the relationship is not the person we grow into. And that is one example. But when is it a healthy time to disentangle yourself from a relationship that's toxic? That would be now. I had a beautiful exercise, and I knew Wayne, and I loved Wayne, many of you, and he said, just make a list and go through the list and just pray. Just say, God, I forgive them and I forgive myself. I have, like anyone, who's on social media, a public figure, not everyone's my fan, but when I see something, I'm like, I forgive them and I forgive myself, because maybe they're choosing to have that opinion, because maybe it wasn't my best that day. Maybe I wasn't in my full giving heart that day. Shame on them, but also shame on me too. And then, lovingly, as I said, disentangle yourself from those relationships. I was doing an emotional detox a few weeks ago, and so some of the things I'll do, like I said, I'll make the list, go through and love on the person. Another thing, I will make the list and then I'll just love on the people. I'll burn it. I have an outdoor fireplace in my house. I'll just burn the list, maybe throw some sage in there. So there was one particular individual, and at one point there was a healthy relationship, and then for a variety of reasons, I don't know, I suddenly wasn't a person that person liked anymore. And so what I did is, for 7 days, every morning in my prayer and meditation, I just sent this person love. I envisioned them in this light, and I just said, God, if there's something I need to do to make this right, no matter if we never speak again, just let me know. I'm not even going to kid you. After 7 days, I received a text from them, and it was just, thank you for everything you're doing in the world right now. And I was like, what? Are you kidding? I'm like, God, you're just showing off. Like, thank you, God, right? And so doing this emotional detox, letting people go with love. Some of the people who've maybe hurt me, maybe they're past now. Someone who abused me passed, and that's okay. You can still do it. You can write letters. You can do all sorts of things. There's a beautiful book called The Clarity Cleanse by Dr. Siddiqui, and pardon me, I'm not spelling this right. It's The Clarity Cleanse, and the forward is by Gwyneth Paltrow. It's an amazing book written by a medical doctor, and it's fantastic, and he has a lot of great exercises in there, and he talks about all of the physical connections with the emotional toxins that we're holding on to. And so it's a beautiful book, The Clarity Cleanse, and I promise you that I'm going to take a picture of the book and post it on this page. So the last thing is that, we're just going to emotionally detox. And I would invite you for 7 days to join me in an emotional detox. And that means not picking up your phone first thing in the morning. It means journaling any toxic thoughts out, maybe burning them, as I said, doing the forgiveness, letting things go, asking God to say, God, please help me to release giving a purpose to this pain. Release other people from your stupid expectations on them. There are a lot of people in your life that you have expectations on that they don't know what the expectation is, so you're constantly being let down by these people. Could you just release all of that emotionally? And lastly, could you forgive yourself? Because on the other side of this is a life's pursuit. It isn't just 7 days, but I'm challenging you to 7 days of detoxing your body, detoxing your emotions, detoxing your relationship, your technology, your environment, all of it. Could you imagine on the other side of this that you will have a greater clearing for abundance and ease and wealth and all things that you invite into your life and support? So with that, God bless. If you want to do group coaching, business coaching, side hustle coaching, on SusanSlide.com, I do come through and read all of your comments, and this has been helpful. I'd love for you to share it today. All right, take care, everyone.